How Lucretia's tragedy sparked the birth of the Roman Republic. The fall of Tarquin the Proud.
All right, let's dive in. We're going to go back in time, way back, 2,500 years ago, to a moment that literally changed the course of politics forever. It's the story of when the Roman people decided, once and for all, that they would never, ever be ruled by a king again. And this wasn't just some palace coup. It was a total revolution built on one single, incredibly powerful idea.
So think about it. How do you actually do that? How do you tear down a system of absolute power that's been around for generations? What's the playbook? Armies? Assassinations? Well, the Romans had a different weapon in mind, one that would prove to be far more powerful and long-lasting. Turns out, you do it with an idea. An idea so potent, so completely revolutionary, that it could redraw the entire map of power between a government and its people. Forever.
You know, the Roman historian Livy just nailed it when he was writing about this. He said this new world would be defined by one core principle: the power of laws, more potent than that of men. Now, that's not just some fancy quote. That single thought was the seed that would grow into the Roman Republic, and it's the bedrock of what we now call the rule of law. At the heart of this whole thing was a concept the Romans called Libertas, freedom. And this is the key part, this wasn't about freedom from rules. It was about freedom through rules, laws that applied to absolutely everyone, even the guys at the very top.
Look, every good story, every revolution needs two things, right? A villain you love to hate, and that one spark that just sets everything off. For Rome, the villain was its very last king, a guy who was everything Libertas was not. And the spark, a horrific crime that would light the whole city on fire.
So, let's meet our villain, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, or Tarquin the Superb. This guy was no philosopher king. He was a flat-out tyrant who had seized the throne illegally. His entire reign was the perfect example of the power of men, unpredictable, violent, and with zero respect for any law. He was the problem that the Republic was built to solve.
And here it is. This is the moment a deeply personal tragedy just explodes into a political firestorm. The king's own son, Sextus, assaulted a noblewoman named Lucretia, who was widely respected for her virtue. The very next day, she does something unbelievably brave. She calls her husband and father together, tells them exactly what happened, makes them swear to get justice, and then takes her own life. That one act of defiance turned her private pain into a public cause. It was the spark that ignited the revolt, and the monarchy